What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Fresh Yiddy coming at you with another morning motivation video. I'm starting to get better with the morning motivation instead of saying Monday motivation. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? I'm so glad that you're here. She decided to wake up and come in here and talk with me, man, this morning. We're going to be talking about something that's great, something that's near and dear to my heart that I really want you guys to understand. For those who are straddling the fence of trying to go full time, or straddling the fence of, whether or not to go out and grab your equipment or go out and get your things so that you can start your business. So this one is for you guys. This one's for use, guys. Right? Okay, man. Before we get started, man, I want to make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you never miss an upload. If you're on YouTube and if you're on Facebook, make sure that you like and you comment and that you share this video with people that you love that have a business or who are have that entrepreneurial spirit, and just anybody who is in business or trying to get into business, man, because this can help everybody, not just pressure washing guys, but every single person who is trying to get into business. And maybe for those people who have a definite goal in mind that they're trying to obtain. Maybe might be trying to get in a promotion or get a new job or anything like that. These videos can help them, man. So make sure that you share this video with everyone. I'm so glad you guys came to my broadcast again. So let's talk about what we came here to talk about. This one is going to be short and sweet. All right. So the topic for today is stop dreaming and start doing. Stop dreaming and start doing. So let me tell you a little story. Of course, it's about me. This story it still hurts me to today, but we're gonna talk about that. So if you guys know anything about football, that's what we're gonna kind of be talking about. So anyway, I was an avid player of NCAA football when they had it out. Man, many moons ago, when they started that college football series for EA Sports on PlayStation. Man, I used to make my little teams and things like that, make my little players, and we'll go through seasons. So there was a mode up there called Dynasty mode. And in that Dynasty mode, you could take a school. You can pick your own school. You'll be the head coach of that school, and you get to take your team through 20 seasons, including recruiting new players to play on your team. And you build your team into a national powerhouse if you're good enough. And I was pretty good at it. So I would go in and I would recruit my guys and put them together and put teams together. So my philosophy on the game was to build defense first and then offense. And I took that same strategy into Madden. So when I play competitively on Madden, that's kind of what I would do. I build my defense first, and then I go over start building my offense, because I think defense is the most important thing out there to me. Okay, so and just a side note, NCAA is supposed to be coming back on the PlayStation 5, so I'm excited about that. Side note. But anyway, I would build my team up there, and I really would like the off-season time because you get to go in, you get to literally look at prospects that you want to fill your team with, and you're able to do a simulated call with them. Basically, you spend points to call them. And then they'll say, here's some things you can talk about. You can talk about, whether you want to bring them in and say, hey, we're going to win a national championship this year. Well, I promise you that. You can promise them things. You could, talk about how close they are to home. All of the things that favored your school, you could talk about that stuff with the prospect and then figure out what the prospect likes and then continue to talk about the things that the prospect like to build their interest in your school. So that they will come to your school, right? So when I love that I loved that recruiting process. And in that recruiting process, you were able to like literally search your ideal player for whatever position that you were trying to do. Now, a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people use that feature, but I use that feature a whole lot, like every single time, because I wanted to make sure that I got linebackers that were fast, because I needed to cover the middle of the field. And most of the time, people go with linebackers that can make tackles and stop the run, but they forget about, most of the time those linebackers are in pass coverage. And so I like to get guys that were fast, put them in pass coverage, and also they're fast to rush the quarterback. Now, I know you guys are thinking like, why is he here talking about football? Well, trust me, there's a story behind this. There's a meaning behind this. Okay, so just follow me, all right? So I would search these guys on the platform. Search the type of player I want. So if I wanted them to be 6'3" and run a 4.2, no linebacker ran a 4.2, but I'm just throwing it out there. So when a guy 6'2", running 4.2, and I wanted him to have to be 200 pounds or whatever, I could search those things and say, I wanted him to be a 5-star recruit, and then I would search that, and all of my results would come back, and then I could choose from just the guys that I know that would fit my scheme, right? So after playing that, and here's where this gets good and bad at the same time. After playing that, one day I was just sitting around and I was thinking about my team, and then all of a sudden it hit me, boom. I was like, well, what if college coaches actually had the ability to have a database of student athletes, right? That they could search, and they could search these athletes and find the athlete that can fit their scheme for their football team, or it could be basketball. Somebody who could fit their scheme for basketball, somebody who would fit their scheme for soccer, whatever sport it was. So I was like, okay, this is a good idea. If a college coach could actually search the type of player that they want. So, for example, if they want to have an edge rusher, they want an edge rusher with some speed. They can go in and they can search. All right, I want somebody who is 6'2" with 4.5 speed. That is at least 240 pounds. That I can play on the edge. Okay, now those are not real. I mean, that's a beast. If somebody 6'2", 240 that can run, that can play on the edge. That's pretty good. So anyway, so I was like, man, if they could actually like do that, and then they could find players that actually fit their scheme, that they don't have to go out to Texas if they are recruiting from the Pac-10 or somewhere. They can cut their travel time and under half, because only people they will go recruit are the ones that they have on their board, and that's only after seeing them play and have a good idea of their athletic ability. So I was like, man, that would be a great tool for these guys. And so I even started like putting this stuff together. I called up my brother and we sat down. We had a conversation because he was good with websites and IT and all that stuff. So we started talking about a website. We started dilly-dallying in it. And all of a sudden, I think it was a price. He said it was about $5,000 we would need to get started. And at that time, I was probably like 24, 25 years old, didn't have a lot of money, living in an apartment I couldn't afford, watching a TV that was very, very expensive, which had now been outdated and I needed an upgrade. I had bought the TV 2 years prior, so all of these things. So I got discouraged, stopped working. So I quit the idea. So fast forward a couple of years later, I'm watching TV and here's this show called Shark Tank. So I'm watching Shark Tank, and I'm like, I'll never forget this episode because I saw some guys come up there and they start talking about this recruiting tool that they had came up with that had an app attached to it. They had already created an app, and it was a recruiting tool. And the recruiting tool was a database of students that that coaches could actually access and see their film. They're able to, coaches were able to swap film from them with their opponents, because it's customary to swap film with your opponent, so you guys can have a fair chance at scouting each other and getting prepared for each team. So that is customary that before each game that the coaches from the opposing teams would swap film, right? So you were able to swap film with other teams. You're able to see student athletes highlight films, and you get to see full games of them, and they got a profile, and they send it out, and coaches get it to their email. So I was like, that sounds familiar. That sounds real familiar, right? So I'm watching Shark Tank, and I was like, man, these guys got it together, man. That's my idea. I couldn't believe it. That's my idea. And the next thing I know, I think every single shark made an offer, and these guys got I think it was about $600,000. I think they started at $250,000 or $300,000, and then somebody came up and said, I'll give you $400,000. Somebody said, I'll give you $500,000. Somebody said, I'll give you $600,000. So they end up getting about $600,000. At the time, it was the most money that any person that came to Shark Tank got. It was the record. And I'm sitting in my living room like, I cannot believe this. This is the idea that I had. And I watched them walk out. And now after a couple of years later, I started coaching. And then when I started coaching, football, there was this little thing called huddle, and we used it to put our players in it, and the same exact idea I had, boom, it was sitting right there in front of me, and I'm using it. So that is just a story, man, to tell you guys to get started. Don't wait. Get started. If you got the idea, if you're ready to start your pressure washing business, if you got your stuff, man, get started. Don't wait. Because you'll be looking at me like I literally had $1 million idea, and I started to put that idea into motion, into action, and then I stopped, and then someone else did it, and they're reaping all of the benefits that I should have reaped, right? So it's just a testament, man, guys, to stop dreaming, and start doing. Dreaming is good to when you get your idea, but once you get your idea, you start doing it. Put it in motion. Write it down. Make it plain. As soon as you get that idea, write it down. Make it plain. Create that plan. Get some people around you that's going to help you reach your goal, and you guys go steadfast and keep going and push until you get there. All right. So if you're pressure washing and you got your stuff, or you're thinking about getting your stuff, do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. You're thinking about getting your stuff, do it now. Go get it, because somebody down the street is going to do it, and then they're going to be in your area cleaning up before you even get a chance to get started. And then you're going to have a uphill, climb to get there. Now, it would even be worse if you're sitting there thinking about it, and then somebody moves in across the street from you, and then they start one, and then they're crushing your neighborhood. They're in your neighborhood. They move across the street from you in your neighborhood and washing every home in your neighborhood, and that could have been you. So I tell you, I say all that to tell you guys to stop dreaming and start doing. Stop dreaming, start doing. All right. I always say it's going to be short and sweet, and here we are running up on 15 minutes. But anyway, man, that's it, man. I just wanted to give you that that little piece, man, to get you guys started today. Stop dreaming, start doing.